Alright, hello and welcome! So, a long time ago, I did a video on what Hitscan is, but I figured I should redo that and kind of go over it again, just so if there's anyone that doesn't know what that means, they will now know. So, Hitscan is basically the difference, or the gun type, where your gun has no travel time, and your gun is kind of just a visual representation of what's going on, is not really interacting with what you're actually doing in terms of how your bullet is being calculated. So what that means is that because your weapon has no travel time, there's no in between. There's no calculation for my bullet leaving my gun and going to my reticle. My reticle is where everything happens. So if I'm aiming at something and I shoot, the bullet is just there. It's either there or not. There's no in between. Which is really advantageous because it means that if you're aiming at someone and your reticle is on them, unless your accuracy is incredibly low, you're gonna hit them. You will hit what you're aiming at, which is one of the big advantages to Hitscan. Another big advantage to Hitscan is that because my gun is not really interacting, and this is just like this is just what a Lex looks like. It's not actually, it doesn't have anything to do with the bullets really. I can just shove this into this wall, but my reticle's over there aiming at that. So I can just shoot it anyway, which means that hit-scan weapons are much safer than non-hit-scan weapons because you can have enemies that are, say, in a hallway. Let's say there's a hallway right here, and I'm, like, behind this door. I can just shoot them. Also, you'll notice there is no, one of the easy ways to see the no travel time is by just shooting the ground right in front of you and then shooting a wall, because you'll see the hit sparks at like exactly the same time. So that's what a hit scan weapon and how it acts. That's like what it is. And this is a travel time weapon, the Dara. So because this is fully automatic, you can see the travel time just by shooting kind of up and down. So we'll show that real quick. You can see the bullets aren't getting there very quickly, but if you shoot the ground in front of you, bullets are there pretty much instantly. And you can just show the progression of that by doing this. You can see it clearly has travel time. The gun is specifically interacting with the bullets because this is where the bullets are coming out of, and on certain weapons that makes a huge difference in how they aim at very close range. We might get into that in a different video. But huge downside to travel time weapons is that you can't shoot from behind cover because the bullets are actually coming out of the gun, which means a downside to travel time weapons is that you have to actually come out of cover to shoot at enemies that are right outside. And against very dangerous enemies, that's obviously a pretty big downside, depending on how squishy your Warframe is. But yeah, that is the difference between having hit-scan weapons and travel time weapons. But there's one interesting thing to note, and it has to do with punch-through and travel time on bows, because I know there are many, many bow users. So, interesting thing about bows is that whenever they punch through, because bows have innate punch through, they lose velocity and will gain more drop, which is something that I feel like you will probably notice after you've used a bow long enough, but is good to know kind of up front. So, I'm just going to shoot at this cross here in that. And you can see where my arrow landed. Let's move behind the wall. You can see I gain significant drop whenever I go through this surface. And it goes through, but it loses a huge amount of velocity. But, like, the drop is increased by, oh, I don't know, like 1-2 meters, which is pretty significant. So, for you bow users, that's very important. And obviously, for bow users just in general, your travel time and all that is very important in getting those long-range shots, and is actually one of the advantages that sniper rifles have over bows, is that all snipers except for the Lanka have no travel time, which is a huge advantage for them, actually. And I believe that's it. So yeah, that's what hit-scan is, and how it affects you, and how it affects the ways that you can play. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.